So this past week I started working a college internship. So as you guys know, I'm a college student and I'm on winter break right now, but my college requires me to do an internship. So this past probably started, I think, on New Year's Eve, which was about 2 weeks ago. I started my internship working 9 to 5, and this was a change for me. On the surface, it doesn't seem like it's that hard, but this is basically what it felt like. I was spending all my time working on my business because growing my business is my goal. And I'm spending all my time working on this business, and then essentially 8 hours or 9 hours out of the day just get removed. And if I'm only awake for like 16 to 17 hours, that's pretty devastating. And now I have to really compress everything I need to get done every single day into a much smaller window. So it was very, very stressful. After I came home from my first day of work, I felt so exhausted. I felt so overwhelmed because I finished my day at work and I was so exhausted just from the sheer fact of the fact of being on my feet all day and kind of just like, working a job, that I got home and I was so exhausted, but I still had to do everything for my business that normally I would get done in a whole day. And now I only had like 3 or 4 hours to do it. So it was extremely stressful. And I remember the first night, or maybe it was the second night, because first night I was kind of like excited. I was like, oh, this is a new thing for me. Second night, I was like, okay, this is real. Like, this is going to be a challenge. And I sat in my bed and I was just staring at the ceiling. And I was just so stressed. I was just thinking, how am I going to do this? And it was late too. It was like 11 p.m. and normally I'm not up that late. So the sheer fact of knowing I either had to get bad sleep, which would make me even more exhausted and more stressed, or I had to postpone my morning workout and do it at the night. It just really stressed me out. And I took a moment and I understood what was going on. I understood that this exhaustion, this stress that I was feeling was necessary to grow me. This is necessary because on the surface, what is really happening? I have a routine in place and something completely disrupts that routine and creates immense stress for me. That's what's going on if you zoom out and look at it objectively and logically. And I took a moment, I was like, this is just an obstacle. This is just something that's meant to make me feel stressed. This stress I'm feeling, this feeling of overwhelmed, is necessary to grow me. And this is exactly what somebody would experience if they were out of their comfort zone. So in that moment, I realized I'm out of my comfort zone right now. And when you're always out of your comfort zone, you're always growing. You remember when you were growing up and you'd get growing, I remember growing up, through like puberty was like when it hit the hardest, is when you get growing pains like in your legs, like your legs would just hurt really badly. That's like what it feels like if you think of it metaphorically. It's like it's painful, but it's going to make you better. It's going to grow you. I took a moment. I was like, yeah, this is really necessary. Like, I think I'm so tough, or I think I'm so hardworking, and then I get thrown a 9 to 5 job, or I get thrown, I get essentially like all the time I spend on my business like completely cut in half, and I still have to make it happen regardless. This is necessary to grow me, and it's going to make me better once I overcome. And now it's, what is it, like maybe like 2 weeks removed from that, and I feel good. Like I've adapted, and I knew I was going to, like, first night I wasn't really like, I had to like postpone the things I had to do for my business, but I was always in the mindset that I can do this, that this was necessary for me to overcome in order to make me better. Like, the fact that I'm feeling so uncomfortable, the fact that I'm feeling so stressful when these events take place, when my routine gets completely disrupted, is a sign that it's necessary for me to grow. Like I need to experience this. And it was really eye-opening, and I'm really glad that it happened, because it really it really helped me. And now we're 2 weeks removed, and I feel like I'm in a much better routine, and I feel like I'm adapted. I'm not up late at night looking at the ceiling thinking, how am I going to do this? Right? I've adapted and I've overcome. And I think that's just how my brain works now, where I'm able to turn every negative into a positive. Well, first off, that's not even a negative. Like, my brain is not even thinking of those things as negatives, but essentially anything that's difficult, I think of it as a positive. Because before my fitness journey, I never understood what delaying gratification was. And more importantly, I never understood what experiencing short-term pain or pain in the present in order for long-term growth and long-term happiness and fulfillment. I never understood that concept. It was only after I started my fitness journey and accomplished my goals and was able to look back, look at myself in the mirror, have a six-pack, and look back and remember all the times where I was in the gym and I was fat and I was working hard and I was pushing myself just as hard as everyone else was pushing themselves, but I wasn't looking like everyone else. I was looking I was like the worst looking person in the gym, but I'm working hard and I'm putting as much effort in as everyone else is, but I kept showing up. And that concept, that philosophy, I learned through my fitness journey. And that's something that it's very hard to learn without accomplishing something great. Like, you can't just hear that and understand it. You need to experience it firsthand. Because you can hear the words I'm saying, but if you've never experienced them before, it's not going to really resonate with you. When you're going to be in the moments where you're experiencing that short-term pain, it's going to be too strong and it's going to pull you away. But once you have the personal experience in that sort of journey, you're able to take a moment and think, I've been here before. That's what it was like. I was like, I've been here before. I know what's going on. I'm out of my comfort zone, but I know what's going on, and I know this is going to grow me. And I know in weeks or months' time, I'm going to be glad this happened because I'm going to be so much better. You have to think of every obstacle or every hard time as an obstacle. You have to think every single time you're experiencing stress, that's a sign that you're out of your comfort zone. I remember I was chatting with this guy probably like a few months ago, and he was telling me, I want to be the guy who's comfortable outside of his comfort zone. That's kind of like a thing people say. Like, you need to be comfortable when you're uncomfortable. You need to be comfortable outside your comfort zone, right? Like, that's so cool to say, and it might get you hyped up and might think, oh yeah, let's go. But it's much harder when you're actually out of your comfort zone. When you're actually extremely stressed and experiencing that pain. That's when it's really, really hard. It takes a lot of discipline and a lot of strength to take a step back when you're experiencing that pain and that stress, to take a step back and think, I'm outside of my comfort zone right now. And every single time when you're outside of your comfort zone, you're growing. So since I want to grow, I have to endure this pain. This is so much easier said than done. But going back to that guy I was talking about, he was like, yeah, man, I really need to make this happen. I really need to get in shape. I need to get in the gym. I need to be the guy who's comfortable in his uncomfort zone. And then when it came down to, investing and working with me one-on-one, he was telling me, he was like, before we even talked about prices or anything, he was like, yeah, dude, I was describing everything I do for my clients. He's like, dude, that's exactly what I need. This is perfect. This is going to be hard, but it's going to grow me. I need to do this. This is going to, he was telling me, he was essentially asking me so hard about how he, begging me to join and to work with me one-on-one and really ready to commit. And then we started talking prices, and it kind of rubbed him the wrong way, and he realized okay, this is the moment. This is the moment where I actually have to take action. And unfortunately, he kind of backed down. He was like, oh, dude, he was like, I don't know, can I just take time to think about it? And every time I'm on a call, I'm never going to pressure someone into joining, right? I'm always like, this is what I do for my client. Like, I ask them about their goals, their struggles. I'm like, this is what I do for my clients. And then I ask them if this is what they're looking for, right? So he's telling me, like, I don't know, can I take time to think about it? I'm like, sure, bro, take as much time as you need. Like, it's your journey. Like, I don't really care what you do. Like, that's the energy I'm giving off. And he's like, okay. And I'm like, talking with him a little more, kind of probing, seeing what's going on in his head. And he's like, yeah, bro, I'm just nervous. Like, I'm just stressed. Like, this would be hard for me to invest in. Like, I have the money, but it would just make me uncomfortable. And when he said uncomfortable, I took a moment. I was like, didn't you say you wanted to be the person who's comfortable when he's uncomfortable? And he's like, yeah, bro, but like, I didn't mean like this. And I'm like, this is the moment. Like, this is exactly what I'm talking about. People say it, but it's so much easier said than done. It's so much easier said when you're chilling on your couch or at your desk on a phone call with me than when you're actually about to make the difference happen, like actually about to take action. That's when it's actually hard. That's when you actually have to recognize what is happening, take a step back. Like I was when I was in my bed the other night and I was exhausted, I was stressed, I was thinking, I can't do this. You have to, that's when you have to take a step back and think of it objectively and think of it logically and say, what is actually going on right now? And you realize I'm outside of my comfort zone right now. I have to endure this. I have to endure this. This is necessary for me to grow. I posted my YouTube video, maybe it was like 2 weeks ago now. The title was, you either step forward into growth or you step backwards into comfort. It's one or the other. You either endure that short-term pain for that long-term pleasure, you either take that step back into safety and stay the same. It's really one or the other. The hero and the coward both feel the same thing, but it's their actions that determine who they are. Right, let me say that again. The hero and the coward both feel the same level of fear. They're both terrified, but it is their decisions, it is their actions, it is their behavior that determines who is the coward and who is the hero. Think about that. People like to paint the picture that the heroes or the successful or the ones that overcome, the ones that persevere, they're just born that way. But nobody's born that way. Everyone feels the same level of fear in those moments. Everyone feels the same level of stress, the same level of discomfort, but it's their actions that'll determine who they become. So if you truly want to prosper, if you truly want to grow, whatever scares you, whatever makes you uncomfortable, face it head on. Run at it with full speed. Get as uncomfortable as possible. And when you're feeling that pain, think back to before you felt that pain and think, I'm outside my comfort zone right now. Because before you go into it, you know it's going to be hard. And you're like, before you're going into it, you're like, yeah, I'm going to be out of my comfort zone. But then once you're experiencing that pain, it's so hard to take a step back and reflect on what's actually going on right now. I'm actually out of my comfort zone. I need to endure this. I need to grow, right? I need to stay. I'm terrified, but I need to keep moving forwards, right? I need to become the hero. This is the only way, right? Courage is not doing the hard thing in absence of fear. It's doing the hard thing despite fear, despite how terrified you are. That's what determines who is the hero and who is the coward. Both are terrified, but it is their decisions that determine who they are. You want to be courageous? Pretend to be a courageous person, right? If you're terrified and you pretend to be courageous, that's courage. That's bravery. That's what will make you the hero, make you the soldier or the successful person that you want to become. You have to reflect and understand that when you're feeling that pain, you're outside of your comfort zone. Like I keep repeating myself because people don't understand it. And I understand why it's so hard, because the pain will It overcomes you almost. Like think about it like if you're running. Before you start running, you know it's going to be hard. You know it's going to make you extremely stressed. And every moment when you're running, you're going to think, oh, I should stop now. I want to stop. But before you go into the running, you know you're going to experience that emotion. But while you're running and while you're experiencing that pain, it's so hard to understand and to have that perspective that you had before. But you have to push yourself and just keep reminding yourself, I'm outside my comfort zone. I'm outside my comfort zone. This is going to lead to the growth I want. This is going to lead to the growth I want. And it can even become hopeless in those moments, but it's the key. It's the key to growth. The only way you're ever going to change is to get out of your comfort zone. If nothing changes, nothing changes. And the reason nothing is changing is because you're probably not doing things that are hard. Because nobody wants to experience pain. Across every human unanimously doesn't like pain. Every human unanimously doesn't like the stress and the discomfort, which are just pain to a certain extent, right? Nobody likes it. So most people live in their comfort zones, but you have to push yourself and manually get out of your comfort zone in order to level up, in order to take that next step. So my message to you guys is to do what scares you this week. And when you're in those moments where you feel so exhausted, you feel so stressed, keep pushing forwards, keep remembering, I'm outside of my comfort zone, I'm outside of my comfort zone, I'm outside of my comfort zone. Think about, if I took a human, right? Let's say I'm God, or let's say I own this matrix. If I took a human and I placed him outside of his comfort zone, what type of emotions would he experience? He would be uncomfortable, he would be stressed, he would be overwhelmed, and he would be exhausted. And then when I'm outside of my comfort zone and I feel those emotions, be okay with it. Be at peace and accept it. Don't think something's wrong or I can't do this. Like, can't is such a strong word that if you use it, you're going to give up. Like, you're subconsciously giving up when you say the word I can't. Right? And I'll give you an example. This past week, I was chatting with my mentor, and he was helping me with my social media. He's like, yeah, bro, you need to post more stories. And I was telling him about my internship. I was like, oh, I can't post stories when I'm at work. And he said, can't is a strong word. And I was like, yeah, he's right. Can't is a strong word. And immediately after he said that, I started brainstorming. Instead of thinking, oh yeah, I can't post stories on work, I can't make content when I'm at work, I started thinking, well, maybe on my lunch break, maybe I could take 30 minutes and at least brainstorm some content, or maybe I could go in the break room and record a few stories. Like, instantly, from just switching my language, I was able to change my behavior and to change my thinking. And instead of giving up, I started problem solving. Surely just from switching one word, eliminating one word from the sentence. Can't is such a strong word. So you need to stop using can't and use the long version of that. And I told him, well, I can post stories at work. I would just get reprimanded by the managers, the boss. And he's like, oh, okay. Right? Because, I mean, that's what I was trying to say. But I used the word can't, which made me subconsciously give up. And when I removed the word can't, I still said kind of the same thing, but I started problem solving a bit more. So just think about that. When are you using the word can't? How about every time you use the word can't to kind of compress a sentence or to speak more concisely, just remove it and say what you actually want to say. Oh, well, I could do that, but this would happen, right? Even just saying that will make you start problem solving. So that's my advice for you. Don't use the word can't. Get out of your comfort zone. Start problem solving. Understand what emotions a person who's outside of their comfort zone would experience, and then when you're experiencing those emotions, reflect back and understand that you're in your comfort zone and it's going to grow you and grow you into the man that you want to become. That's my advice to you guys. I love you guys. I'll catch you guys on the next one. Follow to see my daily morning push-ups. Today we're on day 193. I love you guys. I'll see you on the next one. Peace out.